What does it all cost? Quite a few people commenting either via our blogs or our YouTube videos have expressed an interest in what it's cost us so far to get to the point of actual sailing. So that's what I'll be breaking down in this video. I'll talk a little bit about our thought processes behind each decision and also give you a cost of the individual items in euros and also in Australian dollars. I'll put those on the screen right here. I'm purposely not including any of the scuba diving gear that we purchased, which is quite expensive, but of course that's a personal choice and it's not going to be everyone who's going to be buying that sort of stuff, so we're leaving that out for the purposes of this video. As permanent liveaboards with aspirations of sailing back to Australia eventually, we had an idea of certain things that we wanted when it came to boat buying time. Let's take boat length as an example. Crossing oceans comfortably meant we wanted a vessel over 40 feet. But we didn't want anything bigger than 47 feet because generally there's just the two of us on board, unless of course we're crossing an ocean, then we would have extra crew. And sailing a bigger boat on a short-handed crew can be quite difficult. The other factor about boat length is the maintenance and the haul-out berthing cost in marinas. And of course the costs increase rapidly the more footage you have in your boat. With that in mind, we eventually bought a 1995 Jingle Sun Odyssey 45.1. Her length overall is 14.15 meters, which is 46.42 feet, so she just scraped into our size range. We paid 75,000 euros, which may have been a tad high, but she is in good condition for a 23-year-old. Condition of the vessel leads me on to our next major cost, which is the pre-purchase survey. This is a non-refundable expense which the buyer pays in full. So the key for us was to do a lot of online research in the key things to look at when first inspecting a vessel. For example, if she's out of the water, does the hull show signs of blistering, which is osmosis? If it does, then walk away as fast as you possibly can. Other things to look for: is there a lot of water in the bilge? Tracking down leaks can be very time consuming and quite expensive. How many hours are on the engine? Does the engine compartment look clean and well maintained? Is there an actual service history record of the engine maintenance? Now, if the vessel passes the initial viewing and she's obviously not falling apart, now's the time to book your surveyor. Handy little tip here: try and find a surveyor who's not associated with the marina or the broker that you're buying from. This reduces the risk of any bias. I would also say that if it's practical and possible, then you should be there on survey day too, so that you can follow your surveyor around and ask lots of questions. It really is a great way to learn lots about your vessel in a very short space of time. And the bonus is it also provides you with lots of information for negotiating on the price once the complete survey is issued. Our total surveyor cost was 1,240 euros, which is broken down like this. The pre-purchase survey was 998 euros. The sea trial was 82 euros. The travelling expenses for the surveyor was 160 euros. And also included in those prices is 21% Spanish VAT of 215 euros. It's also highly recommended to haul out the boat 2 days prior to the survey day. This is another cost that you're going to have to cover yourself, and in our particular case, with an extra 2 days on the hard stand to let the hull fully dry before checking the moisture levels, our haul out cost was 543 euros. As liveaboards with long distance cruising in mind, there were certain additions we wanted on our boat to make daily life easier and to give us as much self-sufficiency as possible. The first thing we wanted was a custom-made stainless steel davit on the stern of our vessel. And basically this is just to make life easy for two people raising or lowering the dinghy. A secondary function of our stainless steel davits is that they serve as a mounting for our solar panels. The total cost for the davits was 4,725 euros. That is made and installed. We also had 600 watts of solar panels installed, and of course when it's sunny this provides us with all the electrical power we need to run our 2 computers, watch movies, power the fridge and light us up like a Christmas tree at night. The total cost for the materials and the installation of the solar panels was €3,233, and it breaks down like this. 4 150 watt polycrystalline panels, €1,136. A 12 volt 50 amp MPPT controller, €320. A 220 volt 800 watt inverter, €315. A Victron BNV 700 battery monitor, €187. Cables, connectors and sundry items, €284, and the labour of €430. There is also, again, 21% Spanish VAT of €561 that gets added on to those prices. In previous blogs and YouTube videos, we've gone into details as to why we bought some of the next things on the list that I'm about to talk about, so I won't rehash those details here. These are some of the vital things you're going to need just for everyday living on the boat. We bought a Zodiac Cadet 330 dinghy, that was €2,249. To go with the dinghy, we bought a Mercury 8 horsepower 4-stroke engine, that was €2,305. Our vital piece of safety equipment is of course your life raft, and we bought a brand new 4-person Aramea Open Sea 9650 life raft, and the cost for that was €1,670. As liveaboards, one of our decisions is to stay away from costly marinas as much as possible, so we invested quite heavily in our anchor, because when we drop it, we want to know that when we wake up in the morning, we're going to be in exactly the same place as when we started the night. We decided on a Mantis 38 kilo, 85 pound galvanized anchor, and that cost us €1,304. However, because it had to be imported into Spain, we also got slapped with an import tax of €300. Now, the Mantis anchor is a big anchor, that's why it does its job so well. And lots of other cruisers have reported having to make modifications to their bow rollers or the bow area in general. We were no different, and we had to make some modifications to our stainless steel pulpit to make the Mantis fit and work properly. And the cost for that was €360. We also had ABC standing rigging completely replaced, but in negotiations, Jose and ourselves agreed that we would cover the cost of that 50-50. So our 50% cost us €3,044. There were a lot of incidental things that were purchased and fitted along the way too, and these collectively added up to 21 hours of labour. They included things like anti-fouling, offshore flares, anode replacement and spare anodes, 150 metres of extra line, water and diesel jerry cans, etc, etc. And in total they added up to €3,540. The whole boat survey took about 9 hours, and at the end of the day our surveyor announced that generally our boat was in really good condition. A week later we received the written survey report and then proceeded to share this with Jose the broker. This is where a good relationship with your broker and a willingness from both parties to negotiate and compromise is essential. So what I'll do here is just list the items that we negotiated with Jose as to being replaced or repaired at his cost. Usually if you negotiate it correctly, it is the owner of the vessel that will cover these costs. In our unique case, Jose was the owner of the boat because he'd taken her in part exchange for a brand new Hansei that he was selling to the previous owner. The following items are the ones that Jose agreed to cover the cost of. Replacement of 5 through hulls and seacocks that were badly corroded. One of them actually had the handle snapped off. Removal of the rusty rudder stock quadrant and replacement with a brand new custom-made stainless steel quadrant. Several small fiberglass repairs were made around the boat, and in particular quite a nasty little chip out of the bottom of the rudder. The complete hot water cistern was replaced. The 3 service batteries and 1 engine battery were all replaced. The cooling element and compressor for the fridge was completely replaced. The bilge pump float switch was replaced. Some loose stanchions and the teak handrails were firmly secured. The vessel was removed from the Spanish ship registry and also there was a background check to make sure there were no outstanding debts or fines on the vessel. Jose also agreed to investigate and repair the cause of a pressure loss in the freshwater system. The green navigation light was fixed, and the steaming light and deck floodlight was replaced. All of the flexible hoses on the gas system were replaced, and as I mentioned previously, Jose paid 50% towards the cost of replacing the standing rigging. Another thing to take into consideration is that while all this work is getting done, you will have berthing costs for the vessel. In our particular case, all the repairs, replacements and installations took 3 months, and Jose agreed to pay 2 months of the berthing cost if we covered 1 month. And just as a little side note here, the marina at Las Salinas cost €800 a month. That included electricity, water and Wi-Fi. How much you decide to spend on individual items is a personal choice, and of course it is restrained by your budget. We didn't skimp on important things like the life raft, life jackets and the dinghy and outboard. After all, what price do you put on your own life? Labour costs are fairly high in Spain, and if we'd had the knowledge and the tools available to us, then we might have tackled some of the labour work ourselves. But you have to work with what you're given, and overall we are very happy with the experience we had in purchasing ABC. And we're extremely happy with Jose and his team at Marina Estrella Murcia. After 3 months in the marina, we're now sitting at anchor off a beautiful beach in Formentera in the Spanish Balearic Islands. But it didn't come cheap. The total cost for everything so far is €99,543. I'll now include a complete list of the figures I've just talked about for the number files and for those of you who may be considering taking this same journey that we've begun. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. I'm very happy to answer them for you. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss future videos from Sailing ABC.